All right, welcome back to my Mental Skills mini-series part 3. Today we are looking into imagery and self-talk and how they are used as tools to make the mental skill of self-confidence successful. Let's get into it. What is self-confidence? Self-confidence is the belief that you can successfully perform a desired behavior. For example, believing you can strike the batter out, you can make the three-pointer, you can kick the field goal, or in the case of a college freshman in the weight room, you be successful under the bar. When an athlete believes that they are getting better, that they're able to push harder, they will. So how does imagery increase the success factor for confidence in the weight room? Well, let's start with what it is. Imagery is a form of simulation. It is similar to a sensory experience. The athlete is trying to feel, hear, and see the experience. There are two different types of imagery, internal and external. Internal is when the athlete imagines executing the skill from their own vantage point. External imagery is when the athlete is viewing their self from the perspective of an outside observer. It's like watching yourself perform, and both can be used by a freshman in the weight room. Now, focusing on the Petlet model, this focuses on the content that should be used when an athlete is using imagery. For this example, let's imagine a college freshman under the bar preparing for a 1-rep max on bench press. P, physical. The athlete will imagine laying on the bench with their hands wrapped around the bar, wearing a t-shirt and shorts. This might be something that the team requires them to wear. E, environment. The athlete will imagine their teammates around them screaming and cheering, getting them amped up for the lift to hear the music blasting, even picturing what song is playing. T, task. What do they need to do physically and mentally to get the weight up and perform? T, timing. What time of day will it be? What will the weight room look like at this time? Is there other teams in the weight room? Did they just finish a class? Do they have another class coming up? Next is L, learning. What have they learned that they can use to be successful in this lift? As they imagine the lift, what are the cues that they have learned from their coach that can make them successful in performing? E, emotion. The athlete should imagine the feeling of anxiety. They're going to feel a rush before getting under the bar, the feeling of nerves right as they wrap their hands around the bar, the feeling of the pressure as they lift the bar up and the weight is dispersed on their body, and now the feeling of confidence as they begin to drive the bar up, the feeling of success when the lift is completed. Moving to P for perspective. Is the athlete choosing internal or external viewpoints? Are they watching the bar touch their chest, or are they observing themselves from the side performing the lift? Your athlete should be performing imagery before their lift. They should be taking a breath, sitting down on the bench where they can safely prepare for the max. As a coach, we can give our athletes a walkthrough of what is expected when it comes to imagining their lift. Some athletes may not have used imagery prior to coming to the college weight room, and they may need some help starting out. The athlete should be thinking about success and feeling accomplished while using the tool of imagery. They should be feeling confident when going into their next lift. This is an example of how they can self-regulate. Self-regulating imagery would include sitting down and performing it without being asked and without a walkthrough. So making sure before every max, anytime that they're nervous about anything having to do with the weight room, they're taking a breather and they're imagining performing the lift before actually doing so. Now moving on to self-talk. What is it? At first glance, self-talk may seem easy to define. It's how you talk to yourself, negative and positive, right? Well, it's much more than a simple definition. Self-talk can be defined as an articulation either expressed out loud or internally, where the sender or the message is also the receiver. Moving to the different parts of self-talk, let's get into it. Positive versus negative. This can be expressed as great shot or what is wrong with you. Negative self-talk can negatively impact your performance. So if an athlete goes into a lift assuming that they are going to fail, they're much more likely to do so. But many athletes struggle with positive self-talk. That's where other parts of self-talk can come into play. Instructional versus motivational. Instructional involves directing attention to the task at hand. For example, bend your knees. Motivational is more like you got this or trust yourself. Both of these two forms of self-talk can be a bit easier for those to use that are not confident in self-talk, especially positive self-talk. That one's a challenge. Lastly, overt versus covert self-talk. Overt means to speak out loud, whereas covert is internal. Athletes are more likely to express negative emotions overtly, but positive emotions covertly. In the weight room, all forms of self-talk are beneficial. This is up to the athlete to decide which works best for them. Regardless of which they prefer, athletes should focus on self-talk at all moments. There doesn't need to be a special moment to talk to yourself. If you're feeling anxious about benching that day, talk yourself through the lift. Talking yourself through a breath. This is instructional self-talk, then moving to you got this, which is more motivational. Self-talk is always appropriate. Covert is a bit more likely, but self-talk can really influence an athlete's confidence. We can impact our feelings in more ways than we realize. Taking a look at self-regulating this tool, you should check in with yourself. Are you talking negatively when walking into the weight room? Are you walking yourself through the lift? Are you pumping yourself up? Keep yourself in check and remind yourself the importance of self-talk when it comes to accomplishing self-confidence. Imagery and self-talk can work great together. When imagining getting under the bar, talk to yourself. Tell yourself to breathe and then take that breath. As you imagine pressing the bar up, talk to yourself again. You're doing it. Push. Keep going. This can help you as a freshman in the weight room build the confidence to go for a new PR on benching. Thanks for watching.